This is on the r/no stupid questions, posted by, and pardon me butchering the name, Raise Not Ask Why Walker. For those that are convinced that the paranormal is real, ghosts, cryptids, etc., what convince you of their existence? OK Butters says, I walked home from school as a teen and climbed through my window because my brother was being a tool and wouldn't open the front door. Once inside, I walked to the kitchen to get food, per usual. I yelled upstairs to see if anyone wanted anything. He yelled back no. I could hear his footsteps above me. He kept trying to mess with me through the grate on the ceiling above me as I ate on the kitchen table. He acted like he wanted to play hide and seek, so I obliged. I walked all over our house looking for him, opening cabinets, closets, etc. I could hear him laughing. I was getting angry I couldn't find him. I yelled up the stairs that I was telling on him. I called my grandma to see if she knew where my mum was. She said, she and your brother are sitting right here. My stomach fell through my asshole and I said, someone come get me right now. I went outside and sat on the sidewalk until someone else was home. This was just the beginning of what we experienced, but it made me a believer. Tiletone says, I used to work for a clean-up place for houses that had fires and flooding, etc. Myself and 6 other people went to this house once where the owner had died because he was working on a natural gas line. For some reason it didn't have a smell and the whole basement got burnt when he went to smoke. Some paranoid psychic family, from what I remember. We were on the second to last day there working in the same room he died. 3 of us. We all put some tools we were using in the toolbox. And they both saw me close and lock it. Keypad lock for tool security. We had forgotten a wrench upstairs, so I grabbed it to take downstairs, and about 3/4 down the steps I see the box open. 7 of the wrenches were out on the floor, and the 8 mid-air with a mostly see-through hand around it. That's the fastest I had ever exited a basement. I only heard that wrench hit the concrete floor when I closed the door behind me. I guess I wasn't the only one, because the room down there where they had a bunch of Ouija boards, candles on skulls and incense burners felt really weird to be in for 3 others, from what they told me. YGG Drazzles Leaf says, our only existence in this universe could technically be classified as paranormal. We shouldn't exist. Nothing should. There is nothing more bizarre and paranormal than an entire giant floating spinning rock full of things that breathe and consume in the middle of a vast abyss. As such, I don't discount anything, because it's all possible. The weirder the better. I couldn't have said it much better myself. Daz Puma says, I'm not necessarily convinced of their existence as entities alone. I am more kind of convinced that these entities are constructs of the mind, or entities that exist alongside the mechanisms of the mind. From my personal experience, I have family members who have had plenty of spiritual phenomena happen, like out-of-body experiences and stuff. For myself personally, I've only had one experience that I can mostly chalk up to how uncomfortable I felt in my living arrangements. To make it short, it was late at night. I went down to the kitchen to get a snack. To get to the kitchen, you had to walk through the living room. I come back out of the kitchen, and sitting in all the couches and seats in the living room are only what I can describe as shadow people. Like very clear and defined silhouettes of people sitting in the seats. I pretty much jumped out of my skin when I first saw them. I didn't immediately run out of the room, and I went over to try and touch one. My hand went through the shadow, and it felt like my hand immediately and noticeably became colder. I was pretty freaked out. Given what I had seen and felt, I went back into my room in a hurry. I'm not saying it was a paranormal experience, as I believe that I saw the imprints of my roommates, who I didn't know that well, and wasn't very comfortable around, so that when I entered back into the living room, my mind created like an implication of my roommate's presence in the seats, and I imagined the coldness of the shadows as some kind of implication of the coldness of my relationship with my roommates. Obviously you could overthink a situation like this in many directions. I personally lean into the power of the mind theory, and that it will manufacture things that you cannot rationally explain. Think that if I wasn't more rationally minded, and if I had touched the shadow, I would have chalked it up to more of a paranormal experience. I'm not completely disregarding the actual paranormal phenomena as an explanation, but as I have it laid out, I believe it was a vivid construct of the mind. Well, I hope you enjoyed this video on my new channel, and if you have a story of your own that you'd like me to share, please do add it in the comments. I will read and reply to every comment that I'm able to. And just remember, there's always things we can't explain, so sometimes it's better to not, and just have a good day. Goodbye for now.